Hi, everybody. This is Noelle at Petitti Garden Centers. We're here in Oakwood Village. Beautiful late winter day, and we are talking about peperomia today. So we're doing a peperomia spotlight, and this is a great plant. If you've never grown peperomia as a house plant, it is so easy, okay? It's really an easy one. I know you can be successful, and we're going to tell you how. So to start off with our spotlights is we always want to tell you what light conditions peperomia like to live in. And they basically like medium indirect lighting to bright indirect lighting. Again, when I say indirect, I mean no direct sunlight. So we're talking about light coming through the windows, but no beating down sun, because you will start to notice that they will burn in direct sun, okay? So medium indirect light, what does that look like? Basically, northern exposure area, but bring it back about 6 to 8 foot into the center of that room, okay? So we're not talking about up against the windowsills. This plant really does not require that type of light. Bright light, when we move into bright indirect, it is at the windowsill of a northern exposure window, okay? But if you have an eastern, western, or southern exposure where you are getting direct sun coming in, then move it back about 5 to 6 feet away from that window. I should also mention, if the windows are a little bit dirty, that actually will diffuse light a little bit, and that will actually help cause an indirect light condition. So that's okay too, no worries whatsoever. So needless to say, medium to bright indirect light, that's all they need. And if you have a green foliage type, so let's say just a dark green, plain green, no variegation whatsoever, they're usually the ones that are happier in that medium indirect light. If you have a variegated variety, something like this, where you have more color on the foliage, then they probably would appreciate that higher indirect light. So just pay attention to that. If you put this in lower light levels, the coloration will probably fade. And so that will be a good indicator. Oh, I probably need to increase the light a little bit. If you see that the green foliage types are getting maybe yellowing or even browning, that means probably too high of light. And so you want to move it down a little bit to a lower light level, okay? So there we go. There's your light conditions for peperomia. For watering wise, peperomia are so nice because they are almost like semi-succulent plants, meaning that they can hold a lot of moisture in their stems, in their foliage, in their bodies. So they don't really need a lot of water. So what we normally suggest is letting these plants go, and we tend to recommend this a lot, letting them go slightly dry to moderately dry, okay? So peperomia can really take some drier conditions, soil conditions especially. When that process happens, and I do want you to avoid this, and we've talked about this with succulents. With succulent plants, true succulent plants and cacti, you want the soil to kind of start shrinking away from the sides of the pot. When you see that, if that's just about to happen with peperomia, water, okay? I don't want the soil to shrink away from the sides of the pot. I just want the soil to be slightly to moderately dry, and then go ahead and thoroughly water. So moistening that soil substrate, again, letting the water drain out, and then repeating, moistening the substrate, and then letting the water drain out. Again, do not let peperomia sit in water. They will rot, and they will not do well at all. So these are not really water-friendly types of plants. So if you're a waterer and an overwaterer, put a note for yourself. Do not water as often, because these plants do not like it at all, okay? Temperature-wise, as far as the peperomia is concerned, they really do like warmer household temperatures. So let's say 65 to 85 would be fine. I would never suggest taking them below 55 degrees. You'll start to notice that they will start to wilt, get really kind of sunken spots in the foliage and things. It's just too cold for them. And again, they come from subtropical to tropical areas. and rainforests and that type of thing. So really, when you drop them down below 55 degrees, they will not be happy at all. So try to keep them on the warmer side again, and humidity too. So if you can keep that humidity up around them, they'll love that. Again, coming from a rainforest environment, that's your best bet. So a little bit drier soil-wise, but higher humidity. I would say average to high humidity is fine. And then again, just keeping them out of the direct sunlight is a good thing. Okay, now let's talk about fertilizer. And again, these plants really do not need a lot of fertilizer maintenance whatsoever. So they can be fed very, very lightly, maybe like a quarter strength liquid fertilizer once a month during the growing season. So again, for us, April to September, okay? And that's it. Again, a one application of pink cap Osmocote will take care of them for the entire growing season. So you really do not need to really worry about fertilizer maintenance with these plants at all. And they're fairly slow growing as well. So slow growing, have a very small root system to them. Hence, that's another reason why you don't want to overwater, keep that soil too wet, because those roots, again, so small that they'll really rot out very, very quickly, okay? As far as other maintenance things like propagating, these plants are very, very easy to propagate. You could take a leaf cutting, you can take a stem cutting, put it in rooting hormone, go ahead and put it in a moist perlite or potting mix, go ahead and tent it with a clear plastic bag, and those plants will root within, I'd say, about a month or so. So they're very, very easy to propagate. You can divide more mature plants and go ahead and just divide the root base and go ahead and repot those divisions. Again, they work very, very nicely and do a very, very good job as a house plant indoors, okay? With this plant, I have to mention there are tons of different varieties, foliage shapes and textures, colors. So it's really a very, very different type of plant species in general, where they do have a lot of different looks to them, but the care is all very similar. So that's very, very easy. When it comes to peperomia and you see a plant labeled peperomia, don't worry about it. Like I said, it's a great, easy house plant to grow. We typically use these a lot as kind of tabletop plants, desk plants, perfect for small spaces, again, because they're slow growing and so easy to grow. You'll see them very often on nightstands and those types of things around computer desks, because they can tolerate a lot of different, again, lower light levels, and again, can be on the drier side. They are air purifying plants. They do a very good job of cleaning the air too. So that's nice to have around you in your home, in the office. And like I said, easy to care for. Okay, let's look at some varieties. And I think one of the most popular varieties is what we call a baby rubber plant, okay? And this is Peperomia and obtusifolia, I think. I'm almost positive it's obtusifolia, but we see these very, very often. They are a little bit bushy, upright Peperomia varieties, very large foliage, very glossy, very waxy, stay nice and clean and beautiful and shiny in the home. Obviously, this is a dark green variety here, but you will see varieties that have lovely variegation. This is a new PW variety, Leaf Joy variety, that this is called Sweet and Sour. So that's a fun name for this one, a little bit lighter green and a very, very pale yellow. So really pretty plants. There are many different varieties, and I'm just going to show you this one too, just to show you that some are striped or blotchy even. You'll see polka dots and stripes and so forth. And this one's called Marble. So again, lots of different colors in Peperomia that you'll see, okay? Very, very easy. Another common variety that you will see is the Caparetta type. And these are also known as ripple plants. And it's because when you look at the foliage, they have all of the veining and the ripples throughout their leaves. Very, very pretty. The top coloration sometimes is very different from the underside of the leaf. They come in silver and green and bronze and red. So there's a lot of different varieties varieties for the Caparetta type. And again, just very, very easy plants. I forgot to mention that one of their common names is called radiator plant. And I always thought they were called radiator plants because they're so little and they kind of look like radiators, this rippled variety. And it's really because they like those warmer temperatures again. So if you can keep that in your mind as far as, common name radiator, like it a little bit warm, again, like tropical conditions, there you go. So the radiator plant. This one's very common. This one's called watermelon peperomia. Very pretty watermelon rind-like coloring on the outside, red stems or petioles here. So again, just a pretty variation of the peperomia family. And this one's a little bit different, a little bit unusual here. This one's called Pixie, and it does have a variegated yellow edge to it, red stems, a little bit more upright, bushy, elliptical foliage. So that one's really unique and pretty, kind of newer for us here. And I also wanted to mention, if you're wondering if you wanted to try growing a string of plants, there is a string of turtles that is in the Peperomia family. And I always think it's easy to kind of start out with the Peperomia varieties like string of turtles and see how you do growing these, because these are a little bit easier to grow and take a little bit less care than when you move into the string of pearls family. That's the Senecio plant family. And so needless to say, if you want to try those, but you're not sure if you can do it just yet, start with the string of turtles first. This is prostrata, Peperomia prostrata, and then maybe move into the string of pearls species and go from there. So that's a really good thing to try. And then I do enjoy this one too, and I think this is, I got two more. This one's called Happy Bean or Happy Green Bean. We do see it called, and of course, look at those long, kind of rounded foliage here. Very, very succulent type. And this one, of course, is blooming. And so you will see the inflorescence or the blooms. These are what we call spadix. And so it kind of looks, some people call it a rat tail-like inflorescence, but you'll see these spadix come up and they have really, really tiny flowers on that inflorescence. And they really stay just like a green to a cream. They might turn a little bit brownish at times, but they just make the plant more interesting. So we have Happy Green Bean here, very, very succulent. This one can go, like I said, fairly dry before you need to rewater it again for this family. And then my last one, and one of my favorites, is called Hope. Hope is a beautiful trailing type. She's a shorty right now just because she's immature, but these trailing branches will really, really hang down. She can trail 3, 4, 5 feet long, really, really pretty. And my gosh, new sprouts and coming out, branching from the sides here. Beautiful green coin-shaped foliage. Just really, really wonderful, an awesome variety. So do try Peperomia. Again, medium to bright indirect light, drier side of watering, remember that, and enjoy.